Hello, guys. Good evening. Good evening, my dear friends, and I hope you can hear me and you can see me well. I am super happy that you are here with me today, that you have found time. I know there are a lot of important things happening in your countries, but still, it's super great that we are here together. I already want to thank Matt and Duncan for supporting our community. And I will be happy to welcome you from every part of the world. And before that, I want to thank my amazing friends, my guardians and protectors, Martin, Spencer, Rudy, Philip, Michael. Thank you so much for being a team. And you see that I'm all covered in kittens, so greetings to the kittens. And greetings to Michigan and to the United Kingdom and Canada. And thank you so much for joining, especially those of you who are for the first time live, and many people join the community. So I'm really happy to see you here. New York, Cardiff, Wales, Florida, Uganda. Saskatchewan, so many beautiful places, Virginia Oblast, and thank you so much for coming. Today we have a lot of interesting topics to speak. Greetings to South Africa and, of course, to Kharkiv, a beautiful, brave city, and Slovakia, and Croatia, and Edinburgh, and Missouri. I am really happy to read where are you watching us from. Estonia. Uh, United we stand, Estonia. Thank you so much, Russell. And yeah, kinetic sanctions are the best sanctions. That is a quote that I'm sure all people in the Ukrainian armed forces support, because we all see Long Island, we all see that that's exactly what is working with Russia best. And greetings to Portugal, of course, and Denmark. And greetings to Francois and Trev, who are in Poland now, and the UK, and Sweden. And, there are a lot of important things happening. A lot of important things not happening. And here I mean Tomahawk missiles not delivered to Ukraine. But we are not surprised anymore with that, because, it's typical behavior. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know that today protests are taking place in the United States, maybe some more countries against any authoritarianism. And of course, I think Anna sporting her camouflage. I have never come across such a word, but that is indeed beautiful. It's super important to protect freedom, to protect democracy. It's never perfect. And you know that a lot of smart people, beginning with Churchill and finishing with our modern leaders, speak about democracy being imperfect. But still, nothing better was invented. And that's what we stand for in Ukraine. That's what people in the Russian Federation know nothing about. And, when I think about the reasons why every decade, why every, every century, they keep choosing dictators, they love authoritarianism, they enjoy Stalin, they describe it as the best period of their life. I'm trying to find an answer. Why is it so in Russia? And maybe let's begin with me asking you this question. Yeah, totally insane says a very sane thing, actually, that we are missing 100 likes. If you're watching, do like. This helps spread the truth. And people, remember to join our Discord too. And the Bustater has just shared the very proper link that will bring you to our beautiful community there. Greetings to Norway, and of course, let me put a question that I'm really interested in the answer. How do you think? Let's try to be, I don't know, like it's impossible to be neutral, but let's try to think, not just to express our emotions, but let's try to think. Why do Russians love dictators, love authoritarianism? Why do they keep choosing it? Why didn't they produce anything like free democratic? Because if you look back into the history of Russia, Soviet Union, Russian Empire, you cannot find a long period of freedom, like any serious period of freedom and trying to build something like a democracy. So, what are your versions? Because later I will share mine, and it will help us speak more. Um, no, I don't have read it. So because of Mongols and greetings to Australia, good morning. They can't think for themselves. They want to be told what to do. Greetings to South Africa. People don't value freedom if they don't know what to do with it. That's a good option, Spencer. Thank you. So, what are the some reasons? As people follow religions, they won't take personal responsibility and want to be told what to think and do. Ivan Sirko described the Russian soul perfectly. Rabив Durаю ne puskает. That's a beautiful, like, I will translate to you. Slaves are not let into heaven. They are apolitical because a distant government has to be more authoritarian to keep control, like the vast territory of the Russian Federation. You're right, it's difficult to keep them, to control them in a democratic way. Russians have been filtered for generations. That's also true. And like they destroy their best, they are intellectual elites and so on. Learned helplessness and addiction of responsibility. And when was there ever really a good time in Russia? That is a very good question. Vodka helps, control means stability, you are right, Willie. And the Russian system doesn't let them get out of poverty, and poor people tend to prefer authoritarian leaders. People, I'm so proud like of your answers. I value our community, but I'm also very inspired by our community because we do have a lot of very clever people who know who know the subject and the reasons. I believe all of your answers are correct. And I do agree with this fact that Russia is extremely large, not Russia, but the Russian Federation. And it is impossible to control such vast territories without this authoritarian dictatorial approach, unfortunately. One of the reasons why the dissolution of the Russian Federation is inevitable, and another reason why there are so many problems in the far from Moscow regions of the Russian Federation. And here I will remind you about my channel, Anna Danilchuk, about our channel, because these channels live only when they have you and they have the community. And today a new video will appear. I prepared it really long, and there we will discuss this difference between life in Moscow and life in far from Moscow regions and cities, how actually wrong that is. So perhaps one of my favorite answers is about this enormously large territory of the Russian Federation and inability to control it in a democratic way. Of course, it's a part of their post-Mongol horde. And here we don't talk about Mongol people, we talk about the hordes in the Middle Ages. So we of course talk about this cultural mentality traits that were inherited during that period. And many actually say that if you start looking at Russia from this Mongolian horde perspective, then everything is correct. The mistake that many leaders around the world keep making, they equate Russia to, this Western world, European values. They are not, and they definitely have a totally different vision of what is life, what is dignity, what is of value. But So we may say that vast territory that needs this strong hand, as they describe it, mentality, culture, and history that closely connects them to this very authoritarian, hierarchical societies. But there is also one more thing. But there is one more thing that we have to keep in mind, and that's the fact that Russia has never experienced democracy. Russia has never lived in what can be described as a bed. Thank you so much to Bets for your buying me coffee, and thank you people for becoming sponsors. But yeah, Pat is correct, giving us data, giving us numbers that 77% of the country has only 28% of the population, and it's very, like depressive. It's not densely populated. But coming back to these basic things, I am always very surprised when people keep saying that, okay, after Putin is done, after Putin is in The Hague, Russians will be able to build, a democratic society. Russians will become independent. Thank you so much to Balkane for being an amazing guardian of our community. So, and cheers to that. Like we have that's a typical like Ukrainian decoration, I would say, and I have green tea there if you're interested. So we are talking about this lack of democratic experience, and I think it's not smart when smart people keep repeating that, after Putin is down, after he's in The Hague, Russians will start building a new democratic society. Russians will become aware what they want. Just give them time. No. It is similar to, I don't know, not teaching your child how to read and expecting that he or she will start reading. No, it doesn't work like that. So, when so many people who care for this world, who even care for Russians, do not think that we need to teach them democracy, we need to introduce them to rights, laws, rules, it won't happen just like that. And this policy of acting like we do not interfere, we do not teach them that's internal affairs. No, people. Just imagine that a similar stance would have been taken in times of a Nazi regime. Like, these are internal problems, we do not interfere. A very serious work was done after the collapse of the Hitler's regime, and now we have beautiful, strong, very exemplary democratic Germany. Without this work, it would be impossible. So the sheriff says, if you love Anna, smash the like button. This will definitely help, so please do. And serfdom can be addicted, says Thomas, and he's right. And thank you so much, Darth, for becoming a sponsor. So we may say that they have never experienced that, and you cannot expect an ordinary person living very far away from democratic world, never visiting Europe, never visiting the United States, starts building this democracy, I don't know, in Tatarstan. How? If they are constantly thank you so much, Dr. Andy. How can they build it if they have never experienced that? Another problem is that for decades, Russia was trying to hide any information about various programs, exchange programs. They were banned in Russia, and people from Russia did not, not the children of politicians, propagandists, or oligarchs, but like ordinary people. They often do not move out of their region. They know nothing about the world, and they think that you live the same way, that you also have these problems with, I don't know, roads, that you also have nothing in your shops, because they know nothing about the world. And it's sad, but it's also sad that smart people who know the situation keep believing that somehow democracy will be born in Russia out of nothing. It doesn't work like that. It never happens like that. Thank you so much, Ed. And this is cool on a live stream and a protest. Yeah, I've heard about the protest, and I respect people who stand for the freedom, for the protection of. What of the things that you value, that's exactly what we fight for in Ukraine, and I'm always happy when there is no need to explain that. um, Thank you so much, Demokratie, Freiheit, and I'm not sure that I will read everything correctly. So, today we will speak about more disasters inside the Russian Federation. This war and problems of Putin's regime are so obvious that even Trump started demonstrating less respect to his buddy Putin. Tell me, please, what do you think about this plan to meet with Putin in Budapest? And do you want to hear my opinion on this option? People, when you tell me, Anna, please don't trust Trump, I'm sure you know that I don't. And the thing is that we demonstrate respect because we demonstrate respect to the people of the United States. And so, what do you think? What's the reason? Why do they plan this meeting? And what it can actually give us, if anything? Thank you so much, Ed. So I know that good people are ashamed. Greetings to Stockholm. So we need to stop dialogue with Russia because they play too many games. Budapest is a very good place for the Russian oligarchs to create a false flag to get rid of Putin. Well, that's an interesting idea. I didn't think about that. But I don't have that many hopes in the Russian oligarchs or anything coming from inside, but thumbs up if it works out. Will be another waste of time. That's exactly what I think. Just 2 more weeks. So what else do we hear? Budapest 2 is going to be another clown show, nothing but continued conflict. And it's pointless, just a waste of time. So I'm happy we are on the same wavelengths. It's 2 more weeks, and like it's nothing new. I remember how disappointed we were at the beginning of this so-called negotiation processes, and now everything is is very predictable. So we were not surprised. We know like 2 more weeks. But the thing is that uh, I am a little bit more optimistic than even some of you. You know why? Because Trump still did not figure out Putin. He may like him, he may not like him, he may be interested in deals, he may want Nobel Prize. Like there may be a lot of reasons. But in general, he does not read Putin. He does not understand Putin. And he thinks that's again about territories, about some priorities, when in reality, Putin wants Ukraine to capitulate, but in 2025, Putin is way more far away from our capitulation that is has ever been. We managed to withstand 2022 when we literally had nothing, when the warfare was just uh, um, when they were just, like learning. And I want to react this like sadly don't see any quick resolution because quick resolutions to such wars do not exist. When you are trying to equate, it's not children quarreling in the garden. It's very wrong to think it like that. It's Russia invading Ukraine. So the only way to end this war is Russia out of Ukraine, international world order restored. Because when Trump says that like all people return back to their homes, like war freezes where it is and all people return back to their homes. I have a question. How do people return to their homes if they are on the temporarily occupied territories or they are destroyed by Russia? What are we talking about? Russians have where to return. And what about Ukrainians? That's nonsense. And to believe that such a complex war can be solved with just like, let's be friends. And what he wants to do, he wants just to freeze the conflict. He wants just everything to stop, and it doesn't work like that. Imagine a similar approach during the Second World War. Let's just stop shooting. Let's just freeze the front line where it is. Let's return back home. And what about hundreds, thousands killed? What about everything destroyed? So I think it's very wrong to expect that a complex, very complex problem can have a simple solution. In Ukraine, tired of war more than anybody else, we understand that there is no simple solution. The only way out is to defeat and demilitarize Russia. And let's, focus on the fact how we do that. So I wanted to first, I've told you about this fact that I feel a little bit more optimistic. Thank you so much to Volcane. uh, that one more thing that I wanted to say, uh, that, like, have you noticed, like, once again, I don't trust Trump, like, literally nobody. I don't think Melania trusts Trump. And NATO leaders, EU leaders, they don't trust Trump. But Trump has access to the US intelligence, to the US Army. The United States is an important ally in NATO. Thank you so much, Rudy. And from what I understand, lots of leaders, lots of people try to preserve, try to preserve uh, these connections, because once again, when the US elect another president, it's better to have the United States still in NATO, the United States as a friend of EU. So lots of people are, like, pretending that everything is okay. So I don't blame them for that, and I'm actually happy that, like, President Zelensky now is very, very, very patient, and it's the correct behavior. So thank you so much, Brian. I'm happy that you joined us and now watching us. So let's begin with these things. Why I am more optimistic. Once again, I'm not trusting Trump. I'm not optimistic that, oh my God, he likes Ukraine. But do you see any changes in the way he spoke with Zelensky, in the way he talked about war? Because we see that. And it's not because that he started liking Zelensky or because, I don't know, something else. It's because, greetings to Zoe, it's because uh, he feels your reaction. And here I need to thank you that you are so active, that you demonstrate that you care about Ukraine, that you care about the United States, that you care about Taiwan, that you care about rules, laws, order. There are so many people and who care, and we are very grateful for that. We feel that, and we also want to give back, because once again, when Zelensky offered the exchange of tomahawks for Ukrainian drone technologies, that was a good move. That was not like, oh my God, the big tomahawk for nothing. No, right now drones are doing the job. And we have skills, we produce the best drones in the world. And that is a relevant exchange, and that is a demonstration of gratitude. Like, together we are stronger. Russia is fighting against us with, a lot of other evil countries supporting it, with China, with Iran, with North Korea. So standing together against that, it's super important. So we see that like Trump started acting a little bit more polite with Zelensky, understanding that when he is rude, when he is disrespectful, um, and mm, it's super important to thank you so much for buying me coffee, and it is important to understand that they are not prepared. Like, I have a lot of questions about when will Russia collapse. It will. And trust me, this move that Putin had to call Trump is an example that he is afraid of these tomahawks. Of course, they don't decide everything. Once again, drone warfare is important. With each meeting, Putin keeps humiliating Trump, and Trump turns to Zelensky. And I know that maybe deep inside, like Trump wants to be friends with Russia. He wants to do business, forgetting one very important fact that Russia is not competitive at all. Recently on X, I shared a comparison of the Russian GDP. And the Russian GDP is smaller than the GDP of California, than Texas, then it seems to me Florida and Russia would rank like fourth or fifth. So please explain to me how can Trump describe it as a success uh, when first goes California, then Texas, then New York, then Florida, and Florida, like Russia is between New York and Florida. We are talking about one single state in the United States, and we are comparing the largest country in the world. How can you describe trade with such poor largest country in the world as a success? Of course not. Thank you so much, Sanya. So this is insane. Look, we have 566 people watching and 566 likes. That's interesting. This is definitely not a victory, like trading with Russia, traveling to Russia. But okay. Even if Trump is interested in cooperation, if he's interested in money, I don't know, it doesn't mean. But the problem is, Putin will not follow any of his demands. Putin does not want Ukrainian territories. He wants all of Ukraine. He cannot get Ukraine. He is losing desperately. Thank you so much to Balkan. Cheers to you. Thank you. And he is losing, seriously losing. And now we will talk a little bit more about these failures inside the Russian Federation, because now more and more strategies are growing. So let's not just treat Putin as an adequate man. And after every of such meetings, like it was in Alaska or some that will happen in Budapest, they need to react. And that is actually like Putin's inadequacy makes Trump move in that direction of Ukraine without wanting it. He doesn't want to help Ukraine. I know it. But at the same time, what can he do if Putin keeps humiliating him? Newspapers keep reporting about that. And then, like, everybody sees that the emperor is without the clothes, if I'm saying it right. Then I was laughing because someone mentioned how will Putin travel. I'm worried that the European Union, despite the sanctions, will allow Putin to fly to Budapest, and that will be another Putin's diplomatic victory, organized with the help of Trump's negligence. This will be bad because this is another precedent. He did not step on the EU soil since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, so it's pretty offensive and it's very wrong for the international world order. But, there was one joke that I really liked. recently that this offer for Putin to travel to Budapest came exactly a day or two after the European Parliament agreed to shoot down Russian aircraft that will cross the airspace of the European Union. And here in Ukraine, we were like joking that maybe that is a great strategy, like to invite Putin to Budapest, to invite Putin to fly over the EU skies after such a decision was made. Of course, it's a joke, but uh, but uh, but please understand that Russia has serious troubles and Putin is not understanding what's happening. And in the countries where the president controls the country for decades, and in Russia it's 25 or 26 years, there are literally hundreds of people born and dead during his reign. And it is super important to understand that such leaders, so-called leaders, dictators, Kremlin goblins, they lose their reality. They lose the connection with the reality. They start believing lies that lots of their subordinates repeat because they are afraid. Like in Russia, when you speak truth about this war, when you speak truth about the Russian losses, when you speak truth about the explosions on the Russian oil refineries or the real reasons for the gasoline crisis, you can get arrested. Like a singer was arrested for singing a song in Russia. So, but by silencing people, by frightening people, you cannot change the reality. And personally, I believe that next to Putin, there are no people who can tell him the truth. There are no people who can understand, like how to tell him that there are serious problems in the Russian economy. They actually started telling him this, and he keeps ignoring the reality. He invents the ideas about, like new taxes. So let's talk a little bit more about Ukrainian drone sanctions, because from what I feel, a new strategy is being born. And this new strategy is about, electricity grid inside Russia. Here in Ukraine, we adapted to the electricity outages. And as Carlos says, we need another spider web operation, and I think it's on the way. Because thank you so much for being a friend, Pat, and for coffees. So with this Ukrainian drone sanctions, we destroyed seriously the Russian oil refining industry. Perhaps even in your news, you see queues and problems with gasoline inside Russia, a country that was a gas station. 40% of their oil refining facilities erased, and it's funny to watch how on the news they keep repeating that it's due to logistics and some repairments. Thank you so much, Tony. Due to some repairments and maintenance on these oil refineries, forgetting the reason for these repairs and maintenance. But let it be, I don't mind. The effect is more important than this report. And it seems to me that a new strategy is being born, and that is the attacks on the Russian. Thank you so much, Morten. That is the attack on the Russian electric substations. You know that this electricity outage during the first months of in 2022, in 2023, Ukrainians adapted really quickly because That's the war for our country, for our motherland, for our homes, for our schools, and literally for our survival. So we had to do our best, and we adapted quickly, and we bought generators. You know that, like, I have an EcoFlow in my house, and then uh, in Russia now they may experience something similar. And what I can tell you, I greatly doubt that Russians will buy generators, because they are typically waiting for something to happen to them. They are not proactive. And even if they start buying these generators, you know that for a generator to work, you need what? Right, gasoline. Do you have gasoline in Russia? No. So this seems like a new strategy. First, destroy oil refining industry, create a huge gasoline crisis, and then plunge some of the important decision-making centers, as Putin says, into the darkness. I think it's once again very symbolic. Russia is a very dark place. Ideas that come out of it are very dark. So let them enjoy this darkness. I don't change my hair every day, and I don't change the color of my nails every day. But that's the magic of the light people, you know, like it can be lighter, it can be harder, darker. And it's so interesting how you speak about that. And mind that light can do a lot. Like light can make you look tired, light can make you look good. And sometimes it's interesting to read your comments and to know that the reality is a little bit different. Yeah, but the lipstick I change quite often. I agree. On that, I agree. And thank you so much for all the likes and shares and subscriptions. And by the way, I am very grateful to all the people who participated in our NAFO campaign. Soon the handover will take place in Kyiv, and I will tell you a little bit more after it happens. But we did not close the campaign, and those of you who keep visiting NAFO webpage might have noticed that, because we decided to do it tomorrow. So if you want to make the sum on our NAFO page and support Ukrainian units with trucks and drones, I think in our case this will be extra drones to the units that I will report about, so you can actually join the campaign and make the count even. Right now it's 69,658. Maybe let's make it 70. That would be so beautiful. So maybe someone of my beautiful guardians can share the link. I don't know if it will work out, but that would be beautiful. And you know that NAFO is an amazing initiative with very transparent rules and really good people, and they are friends for me, and I know that lots of you are real NAFO fellas. Thank you so much, Spencer, for sharing. And I thought this would be a really good tradition if we dedicate like the second half of our live to the real questions. And let me maybe answer some questions that of course are connected with our conversation, with the topic of our conversation. And we are focusing on these problems amassing inside Russia, lots of regions on fire, economy, the collapse of the banking system, frozen deposits, limited cards. There's so many things that we can talk about. And So maybe you have some questions. I'll be happy to answer. Some maybe in a blitz format, some maybe a little bit longer. I'm happy that you like your NEFO patches. That's an honor. And thank you so much, and respect and gratitude to Poland. Let's see if I have some questions, because I only have lipsticks and nails. Should I start a new channel, like a beauty routine? People, if you want to publish a book big, you're working hard. I will keep you updated when I have some really big news, because I don't want to make it like self-publishing. And you know that an ordinary agent looks at your proposal approximately 3 months. So if you keep asking me every 2 weeks, that brings me more anxiety than actually excitement. I promise, as soon as I get the news, I will let you know. Are Russian attacks or divided into? I'm sorry. Are Russian attacks on the energy grid looking worse this year? No, not at all. And actually, I was surprised because, as Sharif says correctly, I keep reading all the comments and I keep reading your questions. I was surprised that someone told me, like, I report blackouts and outages in Kyiv. Maybe you looked at my old videos, because so far, there was just one day with a short electricity outage when I was in Kyiv, and nothing else. So we may say that during this year, it was so far a couple of hours during just one day. For me in Lutsk, and for me in Kyiv. So I think that part of the Russian campaign is to demonstrate Ukraine as like all plunged in darkness, all freezing and desperate. Life on the front lines, or life in the regions that are under constant Russian shellings, of course, is problematic. But many, many, many regions of Ukraine are working to win. And I'm happy to belong to part of that. And so it's not something like that we experience. So I'm sure you have noticed that, like, I have electricity, I have streams, I have it all the time. So restaurants are working in Kyiv underground. Perhaps the greatest consumer of electricity is metro underground, and it's working. Restaurants are working, hospitals are working, trolley buses are working. So, like, of course, attacks happen, and they try to target substations too, and this leads to outages. But then repayments I made. What is evil? Russians love to target professionals who work to repair the lines, and they already hurt people doing the repairs. They do these double taps with drones or something. But thank you so much, Erin. But like, everything is working, everything is operating. And of course, it's incomparable to what we experienced back in 2022, when the energy grid was not protected and people did not have generators. So no, thank you. Everything so far is okay. Oh, what is the temperature? That's an interesting question. I like talking about the weather, by the way, especially with people from far away. -1 Celsius in Sweden. And no, I think it's approximately perhaps like 6, 7 plus now, because it's late evening, and during the day was like 10, 11. It's pretty cold, but we are adapting. No, it's not safe to visit Kyiv, especially if you are not a Ukrainian and you don't have any people who will take care of you there, and you've never experienced war, this kind of war, because of course there are lots of safe days, there are lots of safe places, but you need to know how to act during an air raid alert, during an air raid attack. And if you don't have a serious purpose, it's not the time for tourism or traveling to Ukraine. That's why I advise people, I know people I don't know, not to travel for fun. Only if you have some serious mission and you know how to take care of yourself. Do you still work? I have never worked at school. I worked at the university, and I also still have my courses and my postdoc there. But most of my time is now dedicated to YouTube and also to my NGO, because we run a lot of projects dedicated to cultural heritage preservation and popularization together with our EU partners. If you are into cultural heritage, then you may know that we are part of Europeana network. That's a really good thing to join, especially if you want to, like, popularize Ukraine. So that is my main focus now. There seem to be growing unrest within Russia about the invasion. Yes, people, it's not that they care about Ukraine, unfortunately, but they start feeling consequences, problems with the Russian economy, explosions, air raid alerts that are the reality of so many of the Russian regions, and conscription. Conscription, thank you so much, Rudy. Conscription is very much about these distant republics and various regions, and it's not about Moscow. And people feel this inequality that literally Russia, like the Kremlin sucks all the energy and all the money out of the regions and making them poor, and then pushing these poor people to the front lines. It is actually a vivid example of another war crime, ideological crime that the Kremlin commits against this ethnically diverse, as they describe, uh, republics. And that's the tragedy of these people who never tasted what freedom is. Um, uh, Belarus is now attacking Ukraine. Is this true? Belarus army does not attack Ukraine directly, and their troops are not involved in this war. But the territory of the country, the weapons, the infrastructure is actively used by Russia because Belarus is annexed by Russia silently. That's exactly what they wanted for Ukraine with Yanukovych, and that's why we needed the revolution of dignity, and that's why the Belarus people tried to withdraw Lukashenko after he falsified the elections. So they used the infrastructure. They attacked Ukraine at the very beginning of the full-scale invasion from Belarus. There are lots of cases when they send missiles or aircraft from Belarus. So from this logical perspective, Belarus is at war for a very long period of time. But their soldiers are not involved in the military operations. And please forget about the Belarus army. They are really small and they are not skilled in comparison with the Russian and Ukrainian armies. They have like 42,000, and that's nothing. That's approximately the number of the North Korean soldiers that were already demilitarized on the front lines. So literally, this does not change anything. This can, from one point of view, make the front line longer. This is bad for Ukraine, but this is also bad for Russia because they already encounter problems with conscription. There are fewer and fewer recruits who want to join the Russian army. First of all, because they see the results. Nobody returns back home alive. And second, because they are for money here. They are not fighting, like for ideology. Let's be realistic. And the Kremlin is losing money. And a lot of regions, and I spoke about that in one of the vlogs recently, that the Kremlin does not have money and they redirect it to these local budgets. And republics and regions are poorer than Moscow, and they start inventing ways to cut down the payments to the veterans and to the recruits. And there are protests already against that. So that's a serious problem. And I'm not sure they have enough of real people for the physical front lines. And you have to understand that this 21st century war is no more about the front lines. It's not that much now about territories. It's about hitting deep inside the area, and it happens both inside Ukraine. They target our cities far from the front line, and it happens in Russia. And that is, by the way, a danger for other people, in different countries. Because hypothetically, if Russia wants to attack Poland or if Russia wants to attack Estonia, they won't do it with tanks, donkeys, and infantry. They will do it with drones, for example, targeting airports or electricity grids. And that's to some extent what they are already doing. They don't have reservists, 2 million. I have never heard that. No, I'm not from Rivne, I'm from Lutsk. No, I don't think that Russian gold reserves can save them economically. No, I think actually nothing can save them economically. And we are observing the collapse of this federation triggered by the full-scale invasion. Without that, I think it could continue longer for Putin. It could continue longer for the Russian Federation as a project. So they don't have that many reservists. They have already, by the way, what's also interesting, thank you so much, Serkan, and welcome. You know what is interesting? So many interesting questions. uh, uh, and I don't want to lose them. Uh, like they already have problems with these people that they want to recruit for a war, and they're specialists like invaders who organized, for example, the annexation of Crimea or the annexation of Donetsk, Luhansk regions already speak about tremendous losses of the Russian army, but not from this like human perspective, but saying that during this very first years of the invasion, Putin killed a lot of top managers, professionals, like real officers who knew the business, and now they don't have these professionals. I don't mind. It seems like a good plan. It's also a part of this demilitarization. Do I get a lot of attacked by Russian bots? Oh, well, I didn't observe any like specific targeted attacks. I wouldn't like to, but of course, especially on X, when you read the comments, that's why I never read comments on X. I never do it. I don't want to disappoint myself. I just spread the truth, and I'm grateful to all of you who watch and who share. But to tell you the truth, I'm a pretty like it's really difficult to reach me emotionally via comments. And it's not that my experience gave it. It's always good to read you and your sweet support and your messages, but like when we have real soldiers shooting at Ukrainian children on the streets, nothing, no comment of a Russian bot or Russian troll can disappoint me. I realize that's nothing. Do you think that Russia? Oh, that question I have already answered. So. Um, okay. Yes, I'm happy to hear that Finland has a big army, and we know that, and Finland has a very motivated army. And we know that Putin often speaks about Finland, the Baltics, these countries, unfortunately, that border Russia, always have problems with Russia. I think sometimes that how is family life in Ukraine right now? How is optimism of the population? Sometimes I think that Ukrainians are more optimistic than some of the people who support us and who have never experienced war. I don't know, maybe that's a survival mode. Of course, unfortunately, some families are separated, especially from the war-torn regions, and lots of women and children are now in your countries as refugees, and we are forever grateful for your support. Many of their men are on the front lines, and that's really difficult, and it's difficult for everyone. I personally do not support people who leave regions like mine that are not war-torn. Oh, it's dangerous. We get attacks. Everything can happen. People in my city were killed with Russian missiles, so it is dangerous. And when I speak with some friends from I don't know, France or some friends from Belgium, they may say, oh, but that's super dangerous in your region. But I think if you are a Ukrainian, this is your war, you have to stand. And I have never considered, for example, moving. So I'm sorry, I'm late. This sounds like it's cool. So to tell you the truth, I have never considered like leaving my country. It wouldn't be difficult for me with my language skills, with some offers that I get from different like places. So that would be pretty okay, but I have never considered it as an option for me. And I think it's an obligation to stay where it's possible. That's why I super respect people who are, for example, now in Kharkiv, who are in Zaporizhia, and who stand with us. I think that this St. Petersburg protests, Swan Lake, are really small. It's good that they are present. It's good that there are some young voices talking about that, but there are so few. It just demonstrates how big Russia is and how few people are protesting. Thank you so much, Per. And hopefully we will hear Swan Lake on the Russian TV sometime soon, because It's a Russian tradition, a Soviet tradition. When something happens to their dictators and they don't know how to react, they turn on. Uh, they turn on Swan Lake. It happens when their leaders are gone. Thank you so much for the sponsorship. And uh, what is the general morale like among the population in Ukraine? Are there any clear signs of war awareness? No, there are not. Like everyone is tired, but no one wants to surrender. And right now, we understand that we need to defeat Russia. There is no other option. A frozen conflict will lead to a new war in a couple of years or even months. It's nothing, and it's not the way to make peace. Anything. So. Operator Starsky once said a very important and very wise phrase that if you're tired at war, you are dead, and we understand that. So I'm always very surprised to read, like, when, for example, the press secretary of the White House says that we are tired of this war. How come? What were you doing? So we're not tired. Are you afraid of Russia using nuclear weapons? No, I'm not. I don't know, why are you all guys so afraid of nuclear weapons? For example, the destruction of Kakhovka Dam was equal to the strike of a nuclear bomb. When they dropped 500 cabs on Vovchansk, a very small city, that's more than a number of tactical nuclear bombs used. Plus, I'm sure that Russian nuclear weapons in the state, in a similar state as the Russian air defense. By the way, in the Soviet Union, the maintenance of their missile carriers, nuclear missile carriers, was conducted by Ukraine. We didn't do it for a very long period of time. So maybe when they launch a missile, it will strike Russia. So we're not afraid of that. Honestly, nobody's thinking or talking about that here. It's just a card that Putin constantly uses. He knows that's a suicide for him if he uses it. He knows. So, and he's hiding in bunkers. He's protecting himself from, COVID. So why do you think he will risk it that way? Do you have a predicted timeline for the end of the war? Yes, of course. At the beginning, we were all naive, expecting it will end in 2 weeks. Now we know it cannot end in 2 weeks. That's why it's BS. Believe me, no one, like 95% in Ukraine do not believe that this war can end with any negotiations, no matter what Trump does, gives us. I don't know where it happens in the spaceship of Elon Musk. We understand it cannot happen. It cannot end in a month or two. It cannot end in half a year. Here in Ukraine, 26, 27, because Russia will run out of money by that time. And if we keep, for example, if we keep targeting the oil refineries at the pace we have now, it may be faster. So the thing is, you have to do the job and to watch at the consequences and design new strategies and new spider webs. That's the only way. But it's not the question of months. I have already answered the question about family life and population. I wonder, why do you repeat questions? Do you have a problem with electricity? No. Well, once again, I've told you, we expect that. Plus, winter is coming, and winter is always more electricity, more heaters. They will keep targeting the grid, but we are more prepared. And I've told you that the situation is way better than it was in 2022. And I was surprised that some people saying, we saw you experience like blackout in Kiev. During this year, it was just once for me, a couple of hours. So I think it's totally okay. Plus, from what we think, Russia will experience more of that too. And remember to watch a video on this channel that will appear soon after the end of our life, because something big is coming, and we see some signs that Moscow can plunge into darkness. And if you want to know what are the symptoms, remember to watch it. I am sorry, but I don't purr on public. Don't take me for my looks. So what's that? Uh, Ukrainians in the occupied territories are suffering, and that is another problem that gets undercovered. And I'm worried that so many people speak about territories, forgetting about the people on that territories. And when Trump says, for example, return back home, how can people return back to their homes if their homes are on the occupied territories? On the occupied territories, life is very bad. That's one of the reasons why so many people bordering Russia who are more neutral about Russia, when they witness what life is under the Russian occupation, became very big Ukrainian patriots, even if they didn't plan to. And of course, there is no water, there is no electricity, but they also conscript everyone to the Russian army without their will. And they separate children from the families. That's the hugest problem. And they are doing a lot of evil. And even for speaking Ukrainian, you will be tortured, you can be killed. They take people. The problem is that there are no lists and registers of the civilian prisoners of war. And they have a lot of the civilian prisoners of war who simply disappeared. That's the tragedy of the people on the temporarily occupied territories. And they also make them take Russian passports. That's just like, the only way to survive. And thank you so much, Serkan. And I don't have a cat. What's my favorite food? Oh, a lot. Just like from simple Ukrainian food, I love borscht, I love holubtsi, and I love fried potatoes. Not French fries, but like home fried potatoes. I like potatoes a lot. I come from the region where people eat a lot of potatoes. And like a typical Ukrainian, people are joking that lots of Ukrainian restaurants have pizza and sushi, way more than you have in the European Union, for example, as a Ukrainian traveling in your locations. And we have it really good. We have a lot of really good seafood in Ukrainian times of big war, and it's pretty affordable. So, uh, like it's interesting that like we like it a lot. Oh my God, air fried or oil fried? How do I answer this question? Bacon fried. No, I don't have a horse. No. I'm not really good at riding. Once I fell off the horse and I stopped enjoying that. Mm, um, you don't have, like, I don't know if you can move to Ukraine to start a new life here. First, wait until we defeat the evil, because it's dangerous in Ukraine and it's not a question to me. I don't know, like, what do you want? How do you see your life? It's always very difficult to answer the question. I cannot take this responsibility. Thank you so much to all the people who stand with Ukraine. This means a lot. We feel that, and I hope you can feel that we are very grateful. Plus, with each day, with each hybrid attack of the Russian Federation, we feel that, the world also needs Ukraine, and we will be useful to help you protect your territories. And it's not, thank you so much, Marcel, and it's not because you support Ukraine. It's because Russia is against all of us. Ukraine is just the beginning. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I prefer McDonald's. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, what European countries do I like? I like all European countries. I love traveling. I haven't been to all, but there are some countries that I've enjoyed visiting, and some countries that I dream to visit. Somehow, like a lot. Tell me the country I don't want to visit. Do I have any pets? No, I don't. And I can't tell you, like, I'm perhaps a bad person. I don't have time for pets, and I travel pretty a lot. Now I will spend a lot of time in Kyiv these months, so I needed like a cat traveler. You can use your skills to defend common goal. I think there are lots of campaigns where Ukraine needs attention and needs support, and perhaps you can either join that online or you can demonstrate your support depending on what country you are in when some important issues are discussed, and of course by speaking the truth, by even sharing the videos. Yes, these are kittens on my pullover. These are kittens. There are lots of kittens, kittens' tails, kittens' whiskers, and even kittens' butts. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you so much for your advice. No, none of my neighbors are worrying that I draw attention to my city. There are lots of very brave, rebellious Ukrainian YouTubers who, for example, collect a lot of money, like millions, on drones to kill Russians, and they say it like that. So, in comparison with them, I'm a kitten. So no, nobody is like. Plus, you have to understand, I'm working in the English language. I'm sharing in the English language. I taught English at the university, so not many people follow me in Ukraine. Thank you so much, Kirk. Like, people don't watch me that much in Ukraine as they do outside, and there are lots of good Ukrainian YouTubers. Maybe you know them and you watch them. Of course, I go to the mountains in winter if I have time, but that's one of the places that I visit often, and I love spending time with my closest. Do you hear fighters flying overhead? Sometimes I do, but these are Ukrainian fighters. So I always like hearing them because I'm in the western part of Ukraine. We are far from the front lines, and Russian aircraft, they don't go inside Ukraine. They know it's death. So I do like hearing your F-16s. Thank you for giving them. What was the link to help Ukrainians speak English? That was Balakun. I don't know if any of my friends can assist now and drop the link. That would be amazing because that's a truly beautiful community. And I have a question. How do you think? Can we make 1,000 likes? That would be amazing. And I will let you go and enjoy your Sunday. Now they are trying to repair the systems on the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia. If that's the question, how is it? But it's that's a very dangerous precedent, and the fact that Russia hijacked that plant and this International Atomic Energy Organization demonstrates total ignorance, not ignorance, because that's the Ukrainian copy word, that we have those false friends of interpreters words that to ignore something in like they shake hands with Russians that hijacked that nuclear power plant, and that's a serious problem and another undermined international organization. So that's a problem. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Estudio español ahora y leo mucho y practico tiempos diferentes. Pluscuamperfecto, por ejemplo. What star sign are you? I'm a Leo. That's pretty obvious. I'm a very Leo. That was a question. Oh my God, I've lost the question. I am not very good. Do I like dancing? I don't know. I can't tell you that I'm into dancing. I can dance, but I'm not just like very dancing. Do you still have a favorite area of Russian you love? Why would I? I have never loved anything Russian. Literally never. So that's a weird question. Yeah, Russia. Yeah, I spoke about another Russian jet destroyed by Russian air defense during a Ukrainian attack on Crimea, and I've actually managed that. Well, I do drink coffee, but of course, not that much. But thank you so much, Peter, and always happy to hear you and to read from you. Thank you so much. But I love sports a lot. I'm doing a lot of fitness, a lot of sports, and I love walking. And I already have a lot of my friends, especially like women. I don't know, lots of my friends they don't like sports, and they say like, "Oh, are you doing that again?" And it's good for me psychologically, and I love how I feel, and gives me energy. And I don't share a lot of that, maybe sometimes on Instagram. I learned English at school at the university. I had a really good school that I loved. Thank you so much, Brian and Michael. Hello. Ukrainians in Donbass are suffering like all Ukrainians on the temporarily occupied territories. Uh, let's try and make 1,000 likes. That would be great. Wouldn't it be safer to live in a house than an apartment building? Why? A lot of people think that living in the village next to a city is safer, but surprise, air defense is more active on the suburbs of the city. That's why lots of houses are destroyed, not letting. It's a question that you have to understand that when an air defense works, it doesn't always have a choice, and it stops the flying target to prevent death. Because when, for example, a whole missile targets a building, it destroys everything. And when it's just debris, it can destroy a couple of, like, I don't know, cars or flats. But it may be that it was flying in another direction and it was shot about around above your house, and your house is destroyed, and it was not meant for your house. So it's just always a very bad experience. But once again, if an air defense is working and I have a choice between a small house, saving a small house, and a big apartment building, how do you think, what will they choose? It's always like that. At war, it's very wrong that you have to make any choices, but sometimes they are made. I'm not saying it's a strategy, but sometimes it works like that. So, um, mm, mm. I don't pay much attention to. I don't pay much attention to Hexet and his tie, because I don't think Hexet decides anything. Yes, I have seen drones flying around. I can't tell you that I like it. And it's wrong to look at the flying drone. And like I have seen a couple of times, but I have heard a lot. And hearing is very a nervous moment, because you hear them and you start thinking, is it just above you or is it land? Because when they go down, it's a very bad sign for you. Um, so one more question maybe, and I will let you enjoy the evening, because I still have more 2 videos, and I need your patience and your attention. Uh, yeah, Anna doesn't like robots, flying ones, but I like those robots that we are supplying the Ukrainian armed forces with. So if you have a feeling to support Ukrainian armed forces, I will remind you about, oh, we have accomplished our goal. Thank you so much. And we have like 70,000 euros on our dollars. I'm sorry, I'm not just like measuring. No, euros on our NEFU. Thank you so much to all who did that. Uh, and that's a cat camouflage. So remember that there will be 2 more videos coming. One on Anna Danilchuk channel, and I hope you are subscribed to it. And another one here where we'll talk about this electricity problems around Moscow. Thank you so much, Trev. And we have 1,000 likes. So give me one more question, and then you will be free to enjoy it. And I'm just very grateful to all the people who cheered and supported. So, yeah, Katuflash. Thank you so much for all the kind words that you are saying. Uh, Uh, I hope you understand. I don't paint my nails myself. I go to a salon and I paint my nails, and I think it's okay because that's also the way to support the Ukrainian economy. And I go because I see people counting colors and numbers every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. So if you see a different, that's a fresh one. So in 2 weeks, we will change. We will change the color. Thank you so much for all the support, all the love that we feel here, because it's not about me, it's about us. And all of these channels are alive just because there's so many good people who subscribe, so many good people who became a part of friends and family. And I love you very, very much. And also, my closest family, the team of moderators, Martin, Spencer, Rudy, Philip, Michael, thank you so much for your continued support, not just during this uh, live stream, but I mean, literally every day. Thank you so, so much. And maybe next time I will pour, who knows. Remember to check new videos that will appear. Thank you so much for accomplishing NEFO campaign, and soon I will report more together with the team. They are amazing people, and I'm so proud that our community is friends with their community. Thank you for spending this evening with me. Stay strong. We will defeat the evil, and the process has already started, and I'm sure people sense it, both in Russia, in the United States, and of course in our community. Thank you once again, and thank you to all the patrons, sponsors, to good people who kept buying me coffees and helping me work more and tell you more about Ukraine. That's a privilege, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you once again, and Slava Ukraini!